What's up, guys? What is up? Welcome back to Deck Talk Podcast. Boy, we got an episode for you today, and hopefully, it's going to be some good insight into some high school fishing. But if you don't know, I am Colin Burnett.
And I am Norman Lee. This episode is brought to you by Riff Headgear. Riff is designed utilizing an innovative double layer fabric system which provides ongoing ventilation and ultralight comfort. Riff isn't only protecting you, but it's protecting your way of life as an outdoorsman for the future. Whether you work, fish, hunt, or play, Riff has brought sun protection to another level, creating headwear that is comfortable, practical, and effective, ensuring your safety and giving you a peace of mind. Get your Riff headgear today at www.riffmask.com. Make sure to use discount code DECKTALK10 at checkout for instant savings. Again, that's www.riffmask.com. Make sure to use that discount code DECKTALK10.
Heck yeah. But, and guys, we got also our special guest of tonight. If you do not know him, he is all over the Tennessee high school fishing tournament trail everywhere you go. Every time I get on there, I see some posts that Presley has put. So, but if you don't know, we got Presley Lannom with us tonight. What's up, brother?
What's going
What's
on,
up, guys?
Presley?
What's up? What's up? Glad to be on
Man,
here.
and I tell you guys, if you do not know Presley, you need to get on Facebook and follow him. Just because, I mean, he's every time I turn around, he's posting pictures of him holding fish, and it's not just one fish. He's got like a handful of fish out there. But but guys, yeah, he I met Presley about a year and a half, 2 years ago on
Yeah.
Chickamauga,
Yep.
and got to talk to him, and just talking to him, in which y'all will see um, the knowledge that he has, and just talking to him does not seem like somebody that is just now going into your junior year of high school.
Yes, sir.
So you ain't got to call me sir.
Sorry, that's my Southern home training kicking in.
I
Now,
know,
sir.
I know, but we're all just buddies on here. So
As
I
long as
mean,
you don't call him late for dinner, he's all good with it.
yeah, just don't call me late for dinner. But guys, you'll find out as we're talking. And again, this is an interactive podcast, so if you have any questions that you want to ask Presley, feel free to ask, and we will make sure that we will get to them. Uh, and Presley, with that being said, brother, let's get this show on the road.
Let's do it.
So Presley, how let's do it like this. You live in Middle Tennessee, correct?
Yes, sir.
And
Kind of right in between Mount Juliet and Lebanon, but I technically live in Gladeville. It's a little town that's not even on the map.
yeah, yeah. So, and guys, what drew me to Presley when I first met him is on his jersey. It says Mount Juliet Fishing Team, right? And I grew up. I was born and raised in Mount Juliet. So when I see somebody that has Mount Juliet on there, I always have to go and talk to them, because how often do you see somebody from your old hometown? But guys, yeah. Um, so how did you get started into fishing?
Even as a little kid, we go camping a lot in a camper, campgrounds, the state parks and stuff like that. We always fish, just off the bank for bluegill, occasional bass or catfish, crappie, whatever bites, or just a bobber and a cork or bobber and a hook. And I mean, kind of just how everybody does, you go
Right.
fishing with your dad a couple times, your brother, and then we started going to the Caney. We met an older guy at Bass Pro. He worked there at the fly counter, and he gave us a diagram of a little trout rig that we go to the Caney Fork with. And we went one time, and we caught the full out of him. So it just kind of went up from there. We just started catching fish, and then one day in the mail, I think I was in fifth grade. I got sent home with a flyer for a fishing team, and I showed it to my parents, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll see what it's about." And I got with my buddy Preston, and he was my fishing partner. But I mean, other than that, I've never really targeted bass in specific. Just whatever bites.
Right.
It was just the thrill of something pulling back. And
Well,
me and Preston went out on our first tournament. Knowing absolutely nothing. And it's funny. We look back. We were throwing saltwater rods with no telling what kind of line, and these giant reels, and absolutely. I mean, just knowing nothing. We were so blind going into it. But it's crazy to think how far it's come since then,
oh yeah.
for sure.
Now, when was your first tournament experience? Was it when you got into high school, or did you fish tournaments prior to high school, like club tournaments or small little dogfight tournaments, or was high school your first experience as competitive bass fishing?
Yeah, I fished juniors first before I got into high school. I think sixth grade
Right.
was my first tournament. Yeah, and we didn't weigh fish. We didn't weigh fish. I'm sure we were just snacking before lunchtime and goofing off. But
Yeah.
yeah, that really started it. After that first tournament, just kind of got hooked. Even not catching anything. It's just like the thrill of the competition.
Oh yeah.
And we, I mean, other than getting that flyer in the mail, I'd never really bass fished. My dad was
Right.
like, "Yeah, we'll try it." So we
Yeah.
just kind of got started with that flyer in the mail.
Yeah, I don't know if you already mentioned it, Presley, but do you remember what was your first memory of fishing? I mean, you're going into your junior year in high school, so you don't have to remember back that far. But do you
Yeah,
remember kind of what your first memory was as a small child, being able to go fishing?
I really don't. Man, I can't think of a specific time or a
Yeah,
specific fishing trip, but I remember all those days on McCaney with me and my dad and my
yeah,
sister.
that's
That
awesome.
those were really fun. I wish we got to do that more. I think we're actually going to go here in a couple of weeks, go
Um,
trout fishing.
yeah.
It's a fun time for sure.
I haven't fished a caney in a long time,
Yeah,
but we used to fish Old Hickory like crazy. But
yep,
then we'd also go to Percy Priest and fish over there. I actually got a cousin of mine that he goes and kills some hybrid over there. He goes and he tears them up.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's full of them for sure.
yeah, we actually got Michael Wendell. He's from the Everglades down in South Florida,
Okay, yeah.
and he says, first of all, welcome to the Hammer Club, and it's awesome to see the future of fishing. What is your favorite style of fishing?
That's a tough one. I usually say whatever the fish are eating, but I really love fishing offshore. I think it's one of those things you can do it all year round, and you can get right in a hurry, especially on the tournament side. And it's just fun. I love the thrill of graphing over them and seeing them, and then you turn right back around and you throw whatever you're throwing out there, and it bites. It's not like it's not something you visually see on the bank. It's you look at your mapping and you look at your graphs and you find them under the water, not looking at something on the bank. I think
Right
offshore fishing would have to be
Yeah.
that.
now, now did with fishing like with doing the offshore because like with me, my grandparent or my granddaddy and my dad, we always pounded the bank on Old Hickory. And then like we'd also go to Kentucky Lake, and that's what I was used to, and which within like the past, I'd say 6 7 years, I've merged out to fishing some wedges.
Yeah.
But did that how is that how you kind of started, or did you like, all right, I want to just be out offshore to
No,
start
I
this?
think I think definitely started out on the bank. It's a little more simple. I think learning to read the graphs and learning to read your mapping definitely takes time. It's an experience thing, I think.
It is.
But I don't think I really looked at offshore fishing when I first started. When I first started, because it's a lot of a mental game to me. Having the confidence to go out there and be like, that's what I'm looking at. That's a fish, or
Yeah.
that's a rock pile. That's a point under the water, or a current break. Is to me, it's a little more of a mental thing. Like just having the confidence to go out there is really what does it for me.
And that's a good point right there, Presley. Too, is you just brought up mental point. with fishing offshore and fishing structure that you really can't visibly see. But with that point being said, fishing in general, no matter what technique you're using, whether you're fishing stuff you could see on the bank, whether you're fishing whatever bait you're throwing, it's all, and a lot of people don't even fishermen don't realize this a lot of the time, but fishing's 50% mental, 50% upstairs. Because if you hit the lake in the morning and you don't think you're going to get bit, you're just wasting your time that day because of conditions or what have you, you're already lost. You
Oh
know,
yeah,
but
yeah,
if you
for
hit the
sure.
lake, every time you hit the lake, you go in with a positive attitude. I don't care what the conditions are. I don't care what bait I'm going to throw. I'm going to get bit no matter what. Chances are you're gonna get bit. And
Yeah.
you're gonna do a lot better than it's all up here. And so that was a good point you made about offshore. But you could kind of carry that to no matter what technique you like to fish or no matter what baits you like to throw. As long as you can keep that positive mental attitude, it'll be
You're on the
like
swivel.
you'll do really well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. It definitely confidence. If you can go out there and you tell yourself, "I'm gonna get bit doing
Yeah.
what I'm doing,"
Yeah.
and if you don't have that confidence, I mean, whether you realize it or not, you're just not gonna be fishing as good as you would when you have that confidence of going out there and
Yeah.
saying, "I'm gonna catch fish."
Exactly, man.
Okay. We got a good buddy of mine. He owns Ben Olay Lures, and so I'm telling you this so you can remind me here afterwards.
Okay.
Um, he said, "Hey brother, about to have to go to football practice." He's got some little kids that they are some athletes and a half, I tell you. But he says, "Give this young man's uh, get this young man's contact information, and I will get with you." And then he's wanting to send you some baits and stuff, and talk to you and stuff like that.
And he
Yeah.
makes some, he
Let's
makes some
do it.
awesome baits too.
Yeah, he
Good
he
deal.
he does like a lot of hand painting
Yeah.
on whatever that
Yeah.
you
Oh
want,
yeah.
and so
It's my kind of stuff
he
right there.
his I tell you, actually I haven't thrown it too terribly much with Norman in the boat because I don't want him to jack it from me, but
You can't let all
he's
your
got
secrets
a
out.
rat. What's it? I might actually. He's got a rat that I've been smoking for the past 2 years. Been smoking some bass on,
A
and
rat.
then I mean it's only about yay long,
Yeah.
but he's got one that is. It sounds like you're throwing a big old boulder in that's big enough. I mean, it's
He
monster.
he has one
But
that when it hits the water, it sounds like you're dropping a center block from
yeah,
2 stories up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
but
Fun
he does
stuff.
the glide baits and he does like jerk baits and just any kind of crank baits and stuff. He hand paints everything. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
uh,
That takes talent. A lot of
yeah.
tedious stuff.
So what's up, Gino? Gino's a buddy of ours that's on pro staff with us at Spear Point Hooks.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So, so yeah, later on, I'll send him if it's all right. I'll send him your
Yeah,
contact number and stuff,
Yeah.
and then I'll give you his also.
awesome.
So, but what was what what was your inspiration to get in, or who inspired you to get into? Was it just that magazine that kind of got it rolling, and then everybody else just kind of? Because I know that that's your mom and dad and your family and stuff. I mean, play uh, a big part in your fishing and stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
is that really kind of what got you inspired? I know that they keep you pumped up about when you have a bad tournament. I know just talking to your dad and stuff that I mean he's one of those that you need at a halftime to pump you up and
Oh yeah. Yeah.
so
My my dad, he's a different kind. My dad, I gotta love that dude. You can't not love him. I think I'm not really sure if one particular person inspired me to start fishing, but my dad definitely keeps me in it mentally. Really, I'm sure he knows that, but he's always told me I don't really care what you do, but as long as you give it 100% and you work
yeah.
hard and you
Exactly.
try to make it happen, I'll be right there behind you. And he always has been. I played baseball before I started fishing, and I quit baseball so I could put it all into fishing. And he's been right there with me every step of the way. So
Yeah, and
I
I don't
gotta
care
give that
what
spot to
kind.
him.
Oh,
Yeah,
and
I was gonna say I don't care what kind of an athlete you are, Presley. Whether you're a football player, baseball player, whether you're a fisherman, if you want to make a career of it, the biggest thing in your life is going to be your support system. Because
yeah,
without a good support system at home, uh, you're not going to make it no matter what you do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean even in life in general. Not even talking about sports. That support system, dude, at your house, with right now being your dad and your family there, but they're the biggest thing that's going to allow you to be successful in whatever you do, whether and like with you, in your fishing career. Uh,
yeah, for sure. I've been blessed with some really good family and friends, and I got to thank God for that one.
oh,
I've really
amen.
been
yeah.
blessed for sure.
Excuse me. Um, so, how do you think fishing high school events will help you to be a better angler later on down the road?
I think high school kind of sets you up for the big stage. Before you move up, you start at juniors first, then you get to high school, then you go college if you want to go that route, the opens, whether it's Bassmaster or Major League Fishing, and then you try to make it up to the top with the elites or the Bass Pro Tour. But I think it really introduces you to the competition, the big tournaments. I mean, there are some hammers in high school, and
Yeah.
those guys can catch them. It it teaches you to try to win, but it also teaches you how to lose too, and just keep pushing forward to try to make
Well,
it up to the top.
right, and that's a big hurdle to. I mean,
Yeah.
because you're not always going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And which Norman and I we tell people all the time, fishing tournaments is probably the most even level field in any kind of sports out there because
Yep.
I mean you could go out there or we all could go out there and you could smash us one day and the next day Norman can smash and then
Yep.
I mean it's just whatever you're on but
Yeah.
um, so knowing the fact that um, how to take it when you lose because it's not if it's when,
Yeah.
but is a good.
Yeah,
Uh, sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye on these or we got
yeah,
questions coming,
yeah.
but
Fishing,
is
fishing
a
is the
good
most humble. I
life
was gonna say,
learning.
yeah, fishing is the most humble sport there is, really, because one tournament you could win the tournament, hands
Yeah,
down, and your very next event you might come in dead last.
Yep.
So you got to be. It's a very humble sport
It is.
as
It
far as
is.
and you
yeah,
brought up a good point. It not only helps you learn how to win and learn how to compete at that level, but it also helps you because as you further your career, you're gonna end up losing a heck of a lot more than you're gonna
yeah,
ever win.
That's right.
That's
yeah.
awesome. That's an awesome point.
Now,
Yeah.
what is your favorite lake to fish?
That's a tough one. After coming back from Hartwell, it's hard to not say that. But uh, I like a lot of the Michigan lakes, not just solely the smallmouth lakes, but we went to Saginaw Bay a couple times over the last few years, and that's a pretty unreal fishery.
Yeah,
You can go out to the smallmouth country or smallmouth Disneyland, as Taku calls it, and
yeah,
you can try to catch some big smallmouth, or you can stay up shallow and try to catch some largemouth like you saw in the Bass Pro Tour they just had there. Those guys smashed them,
yeah.
eat largemouth too.
Yeah, because you fished up there with Logan, didn't you?
That was on St. Clair, and I love that place too. That's a fun place. It's a
Yeah, I
tricky
knew that y'all
place.
had
It's
that y'all went north, and so I
yeah,
couldn't remember where it was at.
yep.
Um, so what is your go-to bait and technique? If you have to go, like let's say we're out on the water right now and we got 30 minutes left, what are you going to have in your hand and the technique that you're going to be using?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think I'm probably going to be throwing a drop shot in a brush pile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mine is just I'll just grab a Texas rig and just go beat some
Yeah,
docks.
That's not a bad one. You can catch some fish
Nah.
doing that. It's not my favorite way by any means, but you can catch some fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I grew up with is mainly throwing because I think my granddaddy put that in my hand just for the fact because I mean I grew up uh, on the Mount Juliet side of the river,
Yeah,
and I mean we were a mile away from Cedar Creek, and um, but he would put that in my hand because I think he just didn't want me to get hung up as much. And so I just learned how to throw it and start catching fish.
Yeah.
yeah. That's
So,
especially living on Old Hickory. That's just one of those things. You can catch them shallow year round there.
yeah.
Those fish are weird. They like it shallow no matter how hot it gets.
Oh, yeah.
They're a different
And,
breed.
and that's the thing, like, what was it? Bass Pro done a tournament on Old Hickory, was it 2 years ago? And I went and I had a buddy of mine ask me, hey, I'm fishing this tournament. It was a Triton tournament. And he said, I'm fishing it. And it's on Old Hickory. I know that's where you grew up and fished. Let's go up there and let's pre-fish it. And I told him, I said, man, you should be able to go easily in a day, catch 15, 20 decent sized bass on Old Hickory anytime you go out there. And he went up there uh, once before I went up there with him. He says, there's no way you can catch that many. And I said, yeah, you got to. And he's like, what are you doing? So I told him, and we went up there and we went into Drake's Creek, and I said, "You can pound some fish in Drake's Creek." I said, "Everybody and their brother's going to go into Drake's Creek." I said, "But you can pound some fish in there." And I said, "Main thing is." And it's never failed. I've always used whatever I'm using has to have purple in it when I'm
Yep.
on Old Hickory. That
Yeah,
is
it's a
the
staple.
color on Old Hickory. I don't know why, but I can go anywhere on that lake and throw something that has purple in it, and I'm going to catch fish.
Man, you
Yeah,
talk about
it's
the Triton tournament on Old Hickory. That you're going way back there, dude. Because I actually fished that tournament on Old Hickory when the Triton tournament went to that lake.
No,
And
that wasn't.
huh?
This was only a couple years ago.
Oh, okay. Because I know they went to Kentucky Lake for like 8 or 9 years straight. But this is probably going back, man, 16 years. Almost when Triton first started having an owners tournament. But you talking about that purple? I wish I would have knew that back then.
It is killer on that lake. And so,
yeah, it's a
um,
tricky one.
let's see. We got what is your PB largemouth, and then we'll ask you what your PB smallmouth is because you fishing up in Michigan. I know you got some tanks.
Oh yeah. I think a PB largemouth was actually on Percy Priest as much as I dislike that place, especially being my
It's
home
tough.
lake. It is. It's a weird one. It was eight something. I don't even remember the exact. I feel like I should remember that, but it was around eight and a quarter,
Yeah. Now, what about your smallmouth?
five and a half. St.
Five and a
Clair.
half.
Yep.
Well, we need to get you back over here on towards our neck of the woods,
Yep.
and we'll take you on Nickajack, and we'll put you on some. We'll go and fish a day and catch about 120 smallmouths.
Let's
Yeah.
do it. Nicky Jack's one in Tennessee. That's probably one of my. That's the top three right there. I love that place.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. I was going to ask, what about the TVA lakes? Do you like TVA lakes, or do you rather have since Hartwell's like a deeper water? Do
Yeah.
you like that better than the TVA, or
Um, that's a tough one. I have a very love hate relationship with TVA Lakes. They've been really good to me. They've been really bad to me. I still got a lot of learning to do with those ones. Any lake really. Just having more experience on them, I think, is what's going to help me there. But I really like the TVA lakes. There's some giants in there. But I like the reservoirs too. You know, Dell
yeah?
Hollow, Center Hill, Hartwell. Those are some really good lakes too.
Now I love going up to Center Hill and Dale Hollow. That's
Yeah.
if you just go up there just to go ride around in a boat and just look at the views, that's well
Oh,
worth
it's
it.
yeah, it's incredible. They're beautiful fisheries.
Yeah.
for sure.
So, Norman, you want to ask some questions?
Yeah, man. I tell you what, Presley, and let's talk a little bit about your state championship high school tournament. When you, on the ride back to the weigh-in, did you guys have any kind of an idea when you were riding back to the weigh-in that you might have had the winning bag?
On the first day, it was a 2 day tournament, but on the first day, I knew we were going to be sitting pretty solid. I felt like, but on the second day, we were sitting there fishing that last spot, and I was like, man, if we don't make about a half or a 1 pound call right here, we don't got it. And I was like accepting it in my head. I was like, it's okay. We're gonna get through it. I'm fine. I'm fine with silver. But I really didn't think we had it, and especially it said in that I didn't think we had it when we got into the weigh-in line.
Yeah.
I guess the fish just looked bigger in the bags, and I didn't think we had what we had, but I
Now,
definitely I didn't think we had it.
what was going through your mind though when it was down to like yourself and maybe one other team to weigh in? What kind of was going through your mind before it actually was called out and you were declared the winner? I mean, I could just imagine the thoughts going through your mind at that time.
Yeah, it's a surreal feeling. I remember it was us, and we were standing up there. Jake Davis, he turned us around up on that stage and made us stare straight into the wall so we couldn't see anything.
Yeah.
And Jake Livingood and his partner came up on stage, and they looked like they had a pretty good bag when we were standing in line with them. And they set out the weight, and I was like, did I hear that right? Because I'm pretty sure he had to have more than that. And I was just like, no way. Like me and my partner Trevor, we were standing up there staring at that wall, whispering to each other. I said, we don't have it. We just don't. He said, no, we don't. I said, it's okay. We'll make it. I really didn't think we had it, but having that feeling, whenever Jay, our announcer, he said, do you know what just happened? And I was like, I turned, I looked at Trevor, and I just hugged him. It was,
Yeah.
the emotions. It was just
Yes.
crazy. Everybody's clapping and yelling. Our family was down there, and all the people watching. It was incredible to think. Out of all those people, me and him were the ones to hold up that first place trophy. It
Now,
was it was
not
really
only
cool.
well, not only holding the state championship title, but you guys are also, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you guys are also ranked number 5 in the nation with that win, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's insane, dude. Congratulations too, by the way.
Thank you.
That is a remarkable accomplishment. And just
Thank
think
you.
too, and me and Colin were talking about this earlier. You got 2 more years of high school. You're just going into your junior year, so man, you are killing it now, and you still got 2 more years to improve on what you've already started, and the path you're already leading in your high school career, dude. That's just
Yeah.
Yeah, thank
insane.
you. We've learned a
Now,
lot. We've learned a lot in a short amount of time, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of years. We still have plenty of room to grow, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. Hopefully, we can keep up the pace.
Good deal,
yeah.
man.
Now, does it when you went and fished at Hartwell? Did that with winning the state championship? Did it feel like you had more pressure on you, or were you just kind of I got my job. This is what I got to do at Hartwell. I'm not worried about what I've done in my past. Hartwell is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I try to put all the emotions out. I try to, just cut everything out other than, nothing else matters right now. It's no different than any tournament. We're just going to go out here. We're going to try to find some fish. We're going to try to catch them in the tournament. But then in the back of your head, you have that thought, we just won a state championship. There's probably a couple eyes on us right now. So people might expect you to do a little bit better. But I definitely try to put that out for sure. Not let anything
Yeah.
in your head other than it's just another tournament. Don't let the title of it scare you. Don't let
Yeah.
your competition scare you. It's not you versus other people. It's just you versus the fish.
Now, in your high school career so far, have you repeated any lakes that you don't fish a lot? Maybe go to them a second time in competition. And I guess where I'm going with that question is, if you've repeated any lakes so far that you haven't fished that much in your life, how hard is it? I know growing up on like Old Hickory Lake, that's your home lake, and I'm sure you deal with it there too. How hard is it going back to a place a second time around, not to get fishing by memory out of your head, knowing you basically got to throw away everything that you know from when you were there before.
Yeah, for sure. On Hartwell, actually, this last year, me and my sister qualified last year for the national championship, and we thought we had a little thing figured out, and everything changes right before the tournament, and some fish decided not to bite, and we were like 18th from dead last, and going into this last year, a couple weeks ago at Hartwell, it was that thought was in the back of my head, like this might just be another last year, try not to get the experience of what we were doing, not let that get in the way, but definitely wanted to try it and see if we could do it again and try to catch some fish like we did in practice. But um, it was definitely a mental challenge.
Yeah.
Like, man, I hope it's not as bad as last year.
Now, how much time in practice do you spend looking at a graph, or do you look at a graph longer than you do actually having a rod in your hand, or
I think it
uh,
depends, time of year or what lake we're at. At Hartwell, there was a lot of time behind the graph. It was, I mean, at least 50 or 75% of our practice,
yeah,
especially after about morning. It was a lot of time after that morning bite. A lot of time behind the graphs looking.
yeah. Now, what is the most exciting thing about fishing high school tournaments, or just fishing tournaments in general? To you, what's your most exciting thing about it?
It's not. I mean, as fun as catching fish is, and as fun as you feel that bite and you set the hook and there's one there. I think my favorite part of fishing is the weigh-in. You've got your fish. Everybody's asking what you got. You put them in the bag. You walk up. You hear what everybody else has. You're thinking about where you're going to be, and like just there's so much happening at once, and it's like the adrenaline rush of weighing them in and hearing what you actually have versus what you thought you had. Everybody's asking you how you did and telling you good job. You're talking to other people, hearing how they did. It's just like there's so much happening at once. It's just I don't know. I just love the feeling of weigh-in.
Yeah,
It's pretty fun.
That's awesome.
yeah. I enjoy the weigh-in line because I love hearing uh, the fact, because I can't remember. I had a buddy of mine tell me, like, one of the first tournaments that I ever fished, and I was like, man, I lost a good one at the boat and stuff like that. And he said, don't ever talk about losing one at the boat. Don't be one of them guys. And
Yeah,
so after that, I stopped doing that. But then now, as I got older and stuff, I like hearing the people kind of, I guess you say, whining about, well, I missed this one. I had, or I didn't, something was wrong with my bait or something like that. That
yeah,
I do enjoy that. But my favorite part has got to be the blast off.
yep,
Once that hot foot is hit and you're ready, and that wind blowing and stuff like that, there's nothing like I don't. To
yep.
me, that's my favorite part. And then it happens, and it's like first 5 minutes of the
Yeah.
tournament.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
the
that's
blast off is when
definitely
it gets that gives you that adrenaline rush, and
Yeah,
once you blast off, you get that adrenaline pumping. There's no other feeling like it when you get that adrenaline rush right when you're getting on plane and hammering down. You got all these other boats all around you taking off, going to wherever they're going, and that adrenaline rush, dude, it lasts all day, and it doesn't go away till you sit down on the couch, the hotel, no matter where you are. That adrenaline rush stays with you all throughout the weigh-in, and it doesn't leave until you sit down at the end of the day and just you know. So
yeah,
yeah, I would say
yeah,
like you call
definitely.
it the blast off, but not only that, but the entire day with that, just carry that adrenaline rush all day long. That really gets me going.
now we got a question for you. A guy named Jason says, I've got a 6-year-old boy that loves fishing. How did you get started? And he's wanting to get him into like tournament fishing. So how did you get into tournament fishing so I can get my son in?
I think in the juniors you can actually start in second grade is the youngest I think you just have to be in the second grade, and you can go to on Facebook Tennessee Bass Nation and talk to Jake Davis or David Lowry and figure out more. about the specific details on that, or if your county has a team or the closest one to you where you find somebody to fish with. But I think until you get to second grade, I don't think you can join a team.
So are the junior tournaments, are they more or less like an adult junior tournaments where the adults fishing with them also, or is it just
The
strictly like the junior is fishing like how y'all are fishing?
Yeah, the juniors is a little bit different than high school. You know, in high school, pretty much all the boat can do is they can drive.
Yeah,
They can't tie your knots or anything like that. But in juniors, they can help out a little bit more. They can help you pick a backlash out and they can net the fish. But no, they still don't fish in juniors either.
yeah, and and it's interesting. And I just thought of this as you were saying that. Um, with watching you, like your videos and stuff, to watch how you and your partner work together. I mean, because as soon as one of y'all hooks up, I mean, it is. I mean, it's like that. Y'all, the other person has the net. Y'all are ready to go, and it's amazing the like the partnership that y'all have, that it's all synced in, and it seems like, I mean, and which I know what you said last year. You fished with your sister,
Yep.
and did that take time uh, to get that way with your partner this year? Did is it just something that just kind of just comes instantly for y'all?
Uh, I think it comes a little bit natural for both of us.
Yeah,
Me and Trevor just get along really good. We fish well together. We kind of just like tune up and sink in together and just kind of go with the flow. Uh, me and Trevor actually we haven't been fishing together, but about 2 years. But before that, in like third grade, we played basketball together, and at our league, in the county or whatever. And he was always way better than me at basketball. We're a little bit more tight on the fishing side. I think we have like a not even like an official competition, but who can get to the net fastest. I think that's actually a thing between me and him. But we fish really good together. We get along good. It's not just him making a decision or just me making a decision. It's a team thing all the way. It's
right.
not a competition either. Who can catch more, or who can catch more fish on a specific day. But and definitely no talking about who caught more in the weigh-in line, because I don't want him to tell everybody he outfishes me. But I think we work pretty good as a team. I got to give a shout out to him.
Yeah,
He's a pretty good
and
partner.
I've noticed that. I mean, and just how like y'all move on the deck and stuff like that around each other. I mean, you can tell that y'all are pretty good teammates together. So
Yeah, he's a
um,
good one.
now we want you to give a little shout out to your sponsors, because I know you've got some quite a few of them, but we don't want you to miss a podcast where you don't give them a shout out, because they help out a lot. So
Oh yeah, they sure do. I got to give a big shout out to Two Rivers Ford. Got with them this year. They're phenomenal. All the guys over there, Chris Taylor and Miss Tammy. I gotta love those guys and gals. Grade A Construction too. Um, they help out a lot. And Torn Outdoors, Apex Tackles, Seaguar, the best line out there. I've wrestled some giants on some small line with Seaguar. All the bait companies that sponsor me, man. I wouldn't have them if I didn't believe in them and believe in what I'm throwing. They make some really good products for
yeah,
sure.
yeah, and that's and I mean we have to. I mean we we couldn't do as much as what we do if it wasn't for the sponsorships. And you definitely, with being more the tournament, we don't fish nearly as many tournaments as you. So I mean, you definitely, them sponsors really make a help out a whole lot, and
They
they
do.
might not realize it, but it's always great to kind of tell them things and stuff ever
Oh
change.
yeah, our sponsors, not even just personal sponsors, but people that sponsor the state trail and all of our regional trails. They're what make it possible.
Yeah,
For sure. You gotta give a big thanks to all those guys that believe in us and believe in what we do.
exactly. Now, after high school graduation, uh, are you going to pursue fishing at the collegiate level, and are you going to try to make fishing as a professional career?
I think I'll probably go to college. I'm still thinking about it some, but I think I'll probably end up going. I think college is a good. It's like high school. It's a good stepping stone to get into the opens and try to make it to the top. And I definitely, if I don't fish for a living, if I can't make it doing that, which I hope I can, I don't know what I'll do with myself. I think I can. I'll find something to do. I might make some food for somebody. I don't know,
I
but I think fishing's
we
definitely what I want to do.
don't think nothing about anything else besides that's what you're going to do,
Yeah,
and keep your head down. You're going to do it, man.
yeah.
That's
Well, thank you. That
I
means a
mean
lot to me.
just seeing and I talking to Norman and stuff, and I was telling him just seeing how like you've progressed in the year and a half, 2 years that I've known you, that you've progressed, and it's just amazing. And you're just going to keep on getting stronger and stronger, and building that career. I believe that you have as long as you keep your head down, and you're gonna do pretty good. And
And that,
that's
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
yeah, and no matter what you do in life, whether you want to further your fishing career and try to become a professional bass fisherman, or no matter what you do, if you work in a restaurant, no matter what you do in life, you gotta, the 100% name of the game is you gotta love what you do. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if you're a fisherman or no matter what you do as a job, love it, and give 100% your all in whatever you do. And if you do that, you're going to have a happy life. And I say this I say this a lot. You hear it coming out of my mouth. Um, if you don't like what you're doing, you might as well stop what you're doing. And fishing to me, I've never got to the point where I wake up in the morning and I don't get excited about going fishing. I still get excited about hitting the lake today, like I did when I was 20 years old, starting to fish my first club tournament. I've never lost that drive, never lost that love of the sport, and I enjoy getting up to go to the lake today just like back then. So as soon as it starts becoming a job and all the fun's gone away from it, that's time to quit and do something else. And that doesn't only go for fishing; it goes for whatever you do in life as a job or as a career. You got to love what you do, and you got to put 100% all into whatever you do.
Yep, for sure.
and we got another question. Um, how do you get a if you're trying to fish a new bait? How do you get to where that is one of your go-to baits?
I think the biggest thing with something new is having confidence in it. Just going out there, and if you think, hey, I might be able to catch something on this, I mean, just pick it up and throw it for a little bit. I mean, you don't have to pick up a 10-inch glide bait in the biggest tournament of your life and throw it, but I mean, go out there and experiment a little bit. Just if you can catch a couple fish on one thing and just keep building confidence, that's how I get to comfortable throwing
Yeah.
something, thinking I can catch a fish on that.
And it all goes back to what we're talking about towards the beginning of the podcast too. It's all up here. If you
Yeah,
go out with a
it is.
certain bait that if you have 100% confidence that you're going to get bit on that bait, chances are you're going to get bit on it. But if you don't think you're going to, you're just throwing it to throw it. Might as well put it away.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You gotta believe
Now,
in what you're doing.
here's another question: has tournament fishing changed your attitude on fishing?
Um, Maybe a little bit. Yeah. I definitely think tournament fishing, every time I go out, even if I'm fun fishing, is an opportunity to better myself and learn something new. Even if I'm just fun fishing, with a buddy or with my mom or dad, uh, I try to think of ways that I can get better for the tournament side and get better. Teaches I think tournament fishing teaches me to enjoy the off time too.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the adrenaline rush of the competition. I'm such a competitive person, just like my dad. I think he might be a little bit more competitive than me. Uh, but I really enjoy the off time too. Getting
Yeah,
to appreciate that is definitely something I've learned.
yeah. Now, Norman knows where I'm about to go with this because my brother-in-law is on, and
Uh-oh.
he asked this question every podcast. He had to go to Central Florida to deliver Little Debbie, so he's actually on his way back home, but he's watching the podcast, and hopefully he's not driving the big truck. Uh, but his question is, uh, what is your go-to snack in a boat?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Snack, you gotta go granola bar. Granola bar, it's simple, it's quick. I mean, you can drag a worm and eat a granola bar at the same time. That's
Yeah,
definitely granola bar.
and I tell you this, mine is beef jerky. I love having
Beef
beef jerky,
jerky. See, I
but
like beef jerky too, but I'll leave that up to Trevor because he can pay for it. I can't afford it, but he can buy it, and then I'll just eat it. I can't afford beef jerky.
right,
I buy too many baits for that.
yeah. But I tell you now, when it's cold, I'd rather have a sandwich when it's cold
Yep.
because that's kind of how I time my cast. Is if I can need a sandwich in in a cast. Um, let's see. Who has been your biggest supporter in your young career?
Ooh, that's a good one. Definitely my parents. My parents have been there right with me every step of the way. Even in the good seasons and the bad seasons and the rough tournaments and the good ones. They're always right there with me to back me up. Not just financially but mentally. Giving that pat on the back when you suck it up a little bit, and
Yeah,
that hug when you get off the stage. Whenever we won the state championship, and even at Hartwell when we walked off and we got bumped from the lead, they were right there, the first ones to hug me. My girlfriend too. She's always right there.
yeah. You can't
I
forget her. You'll be
Oh
in the
yeah, no,
doghouse.
can't forget that
You'll be
one.
sleeping outside tonight.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
up there in Sevierville with her family.
Yep. Yeah, I have a really good family. Even my sister and my brothers. Fishing with Morgan was one of my favorite times. I got a lot of good memories from that.
Yeah.
Uh, I just love my family. They've always been good to me.
Uh, Another question is, what is your favorite rod and reel that you use and why?
Ooh, that's a good one too. Uh, you know, I think spinning rods get a bad rap. I think I throw a spinning rod more than I throw a bait caster. I have a NRX Plus. It's a Ned rig rod, 610 medium light with a Shimano Stella, and that is absolutely my favorite
Yeah.
for sure.
Um, do you think growing up on Old Hickory has helped you fish the TVA lakes?
Probably a little bit, yeah. You can go out and fish it similar to TVA lakes in my experience. Just getting time behind the graphs too, going out there and finding them and finding the schools or finding a brush pile or something like that. Because ledge fishing and stuff is definitely a big thing on the TVA, and you can do that on Old Hickory too. Similar thing,
Yeah.
but I mean they're similar but a lot alike. They're similar, a lot alike, and they're definitely
There's a
different in
lot
their
of
own ways.
differences too, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, do do you like fishing like Kentucky Lake?
Love hate relationship again. It can be really good, but it's been mean to me too. I've had some
Yeah.
good finishes and some really really bad ones there. I think it just depends. I like
Right.
Kentucky Lake, but it's been mean to me.
Yeah. That Kentucky Lake. I'm like you. I love it, but I hate it.
Yep.
I've had some good fishing trips on Kentucky Lake, but I've had a lot of bad experiences.
Yep.
One bad experience I had, we were we've always put in at Paris Landing,
Yep.
and we had I was with my granddaddy, and we hit a sandbar, and this was when they had the flashers and stuff like that. There was nothing like we had, and but I that was the scariest I've ever been on a lake is when we hit that sandbar. Woo!
Yep. No live scope back then.
No, no.
No live scope.
Uh, let's see. Do you prefer? Let's see. Do you prefer tidal or current waters? Uh, which we don't fish any kind of tidal waters, or
Yeah,
not.
I mean, we travel a good bit, but I've actually never got the chance to fish a tidal fishery. I want to, but I haven't got the opportunity to do that yet. So I guess I would kind of have to say current lakes.
Yeah. So, I mean, so would you prefer to have some current, or would you rather fish like a Highland Reservoir?
Um, I think I would like current on both of them. Even on a tidal place, I'd like them to be full in some water, which usually we don't get that lucky. But I
Mhm.
like current. I think it helps the fish be a little more predictable, but then at the same time, it makes it a little bit easier to predict for everybody. But I think current definitely helps for my style of fishing.
Yeah. Now, you said that you like to do some offshore, and you like to look at the graphs and find the ledges or brush piles or something like that. Um, if excuse me, how can how can somebody? I got the hiccups. I'm sorry. Um, how can you kind of explain like how you got into that to maybe to where somebody that was like me that beats the bank and is wanting to get into offshore? Can you kind of explain like what you kind of look for when you're looking offshore and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, it really just depends to me. I think the best way to learn is just going out there and doing it. Watch YouTube videos. Uh, there's plenty of content out there to figure out, a good starting place. But just simple stuff, just fishing a point that comes way out of off the bank, or fishing a brush pile, or fishing a laydown that comes a little bit further off the bank than others, or I mean anything like that. Just starting off simple. Don't get way in over your head. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not a pro by any means at offshore fishing. I still have a lot to learn, but just start it off simple.
yeah,
For sure. Watch a lot of YouTube or the Bass University. You got to pay for those, but there's some really good stuff on there too. A little bit more exclusive information than
yeah.
YouTube.
And,
But
and there's
Well,
nothing like time spent doing it. Spend time
yeah.
on the
yes,
water and do
yeah,
it. That's the best practice anybody could have is just spend time doing it.
yep, for
I
sure.
tell you, like when, and I'm not saying that I'm the best by any means because I'm not, but how I mean, I actually would go out there and not put rods on my deck just because if I know that if I have rods on my deck, I'm going to want to throw them and running over stuff and just seeing what things look like. And that was the biggest thing for me is like what you were saying, just time behind the screen helps out a
Yep,
whole lot.
Yeah.
yeah, it
So
does. You can't beat experience on the water at all.
yeah. And like what you said with YouTube channels, we got a buddy of ours, Caleb Bell with Bass Quest. You know Caleb?
I do. I don't know him personally, but I watch his Facebook, and that dude catches some unreal fish
Yeah.
on chick and
We'll
nickajack. I mean, it's pretty incredible. I love seeing his post.
we'll have to hook you up with him. But with watching and how I got to know him was through YouTube, watching his lake maps and stuff like that. And when he said, like, when you're on, like, let's just say Chickamauga, and you see Chickamauga and you see the map and it's so big, and he's like, ignore it. He said the channel, you think of that channel as just like a little stream, and that's what you're wanting to focus on. You're focusing on, and then like when you see the contour line so close, and that you know that that's a good drop off. And he said, think of that drop off as a bluff wall, and uh, once I mean watching his videos and then being able to put that into practice, like what you were saying, is time on the screen. It has that has helped out a whole lot and stuff.
Yeah, you can't get intimidated by it, which it is very intimidating. Even still to this day for me,
Yeah,
I have a decent amount of experience fishing offshore, but again, a lot of room to grow, a lot of time still left to figure everything out.
Now
But
when
it's
you
it's still intimidating. It
yeah
is.
Now when you go to a brand new body of water on your practice days, how do you go about breaking down your practice days so you could, uh, use your time wisely during your practice? Uh, Now, to me, when I back in the day when I went to a brand new body of water, the first thing I would do is I would kind of break down the lake, and I would basically take one section, and that is what I would focus on for the entire tournament. Because some of these bodies of water you go to, especially for the first time, they're so big, they can be so overwhelming when you get out there. It's like you could. It's so easy to catch yourself running 20 miles downriver and then running 5 miles back and running another 30 miles the other direction, but all you're doing really is wasting time where you can be put into kind of breaking down a certain section of the lake. So how do you go to a brand new body of water, Presley, for the first time, and what's your how do you practice that? Do you kind of do what I just kind of basically just section off a lake and concentrate on that, or do you have a game plan going into the tournament and how you're going to do it? How do you practice on a certain body of water that you've never been to before?
Yeah, for me, practice usually starts before you even hook the boat up. Before you even leave the house. Watching YouTube videos and studying the map and talking to people and watching old Bassmaster videos for the big lakes. Just doing some background research on those lakes, but at the same time, you don't want to get too much of a decision in your head of what you're going to do before you even get there,
Right.
because it's not the same day, it's not the same conditions always. But you can, I think doing research before you even get there can help you out a lot, but also it can hurt you. But yeah, whenever we actually get there, I think breaking it down, looking at the conditions, do I think upriver is going to be better, down lake? I usually just split it up into a section. We're going to fish here, and then if we don't do any good, we're going to swap it up and we're going to go up here.
Yeah.
And not getting spun out. Don't run around like a chicken with your head cut off.
Yeah.
That's you
Yeah.
get spun out really quick,
Real quick.
really quick doing that.
Do you use Google Earth when you are doing your map studies and stuff like that? Do you use that any?
A little bit, yeah. Not a ton. Mostly just Navionics. You're going and sitting out in the boat, looking at your Lake Master, your sea map,
Yeah.
looking at stuff like that.
Yeah. Now I'm going to let you can answer who this is by the question. It says, "Where did you find your hammer of a boat captain?"
Oh, hey, he kind of got stuck with me when I was really little. I'm I mean, he's all right, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
found
just
him. I
tolerate
found
him,
him.
right?
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of always been there. I don't know where he came from, but he's always been there.
So that's good to see that your dad's on here and he's popping little jokes with you.
Oh, I'm sure
Um,
he is.
well, I had another question somewhere. Norman, you got? Let me find this. You got another question?
Um, Except for the last question, I'm pretty good, man.
Uh,
Uh,
now,
uh,
do
Finish
you
this up.
have do you have a college in mind that you're wanting to go fish for or fish with,
I,
or
I'm
you're
still
still
looking
kind of
into it.
open?
Yeah, still thinking. If I can get a scholarship, I'll probably go. But I haven't really, dug too far into any of them, which I probably should start doing, getting closer to my senior year. But I
Yeah.
don't really think I have one, set in stone yet.
I mean, there's one that's not too far from you. Bethel is
Yeah.
a heck of a team, but it's also the head football coach is actually from Mount Juliet.
Oh, really? Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Michael Jasper. And so,
Now,
um,
if you do go to college, though, is fishing going to be a decision maker on if you go or where you go? If you do decide to go to college, is it going to be because of fishing?
Probably. Yes, sir. Yeah.
now, have you tried like kayak fishing, or is that something that you're interested in, or not so much?
We fish out of kayak some when we go to the Caney Fork or the Obi River too, but I haven't really bass fished out of it. I know there's some fish to be caught that a kayak can get to where a boat can't, but I haven't really gotten into bass fishing. I usually just get irritated with it because I'm not very good at maneuvering in a kayak. But
Yeah, that's
mostly,
how
I'm
I had some kayaks and or some fishing kayaks, and that was the thing for me was one. I mean, I didn't have like the ones that you see out there now that has like the trolling motor or whatever to let
the
them.
pedal drive. Yeah,
Yeah, I had to use the old muscles and paddle my way or everywhere I went,
yeah. I
and
think if you had a really good setup, it'd probably be a little bit more enjoyable. But for me,
oh, I guarantee
I'm
it.
sticking to the gas powered stuff.
I tell you what, I'd like to give all the props in the world, to all that, because me and Colin have a couple kayak buddies now that we met over the years, and boy, I could give all the props to the world and kayak fishermen, because I have a hard time standing on the deck of my bass boat for 8 hours, uh, fishing, and I could just imagine myself having to sit in a little confined area. I guess just because I'm so used to the
Yeah,
space, I don't know if I'd be able to sit in a confined space and be able to keep myself upright for 8 hours.
yeah. I mean, when you look at it, the college trails have a lot of college kayak tournaments, and you look at it, they of course they do it by inches and not weight. But
Yeah.
when you look at what the caliber of fish they're weighing, I mean, it's impressive.
Oh yeah.
I can't even catch that out of a boat most of the time. These
Yeah.
guys are going out in kayaks and catching them. They're hammers. Carson Newman College has a really good team. There's some hammers out there too, fishing out of kayaks. I think it's the Hobie series.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys
Yeah,
can catch them.
they are. Um, Logan Evans is on. He says,
Oh,
"Hey, I know that guy. He's a hammer." So, what's up,
what's
Logan?
up, Logan?
And actually, Logan, uh, he just finished up his senior year high
Yep,
school,
yep.
and he's going. Oh crap! It's in Kentucky. I can't
Campbellville.
remember. I can't do what.
I think he's going to Campbellsville. I'm pretty sure.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
So he's a
Yeah,
hammer too.
he is. That dude can catch some fish.
Yeah.
He had
So
a really good high school career. I'm proud of him. He
yeah.
got a good scholarship at the state championship. That was awesome. I was happy to see that.
Yeah. So another question, and this will be our last question from, and then Norman will ask our final question. If you could fish anywhere in the world, where would you want to fish?
Ooh, probably somewhere in Mexico. There's
Yeah.
Falcon Lake or Sugar Lake or El Salto. Any of those. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I really want to go to Forks sometime too, Lakeport in
Yeah.
Texas.
That
Uh,
I want to do. Us Norman and I were talking about doing a swing to where we go out, fish Forks, Rayburn, and then shoot up and hit Grant, and then just kind of make a loop back on.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
that,
that'd be awesome. I'd love to
yeah.
do that.
So yeah, but I think if I had the time and the money to be able to go to Brazil and go hammer on some big peacocks, I think that's
Oh
what I'd
yeah,
want to do.
I can remember those were some of the first fishing videos I ever watched, and I was like, man, I want to do that. They're yanking that popper, chuggers, whatever they call them. Those fish are insane. I know
Yeah,
y'all. I saw y'all catching some too. Maybe
yeah,
not in Brazil, but in Florida. That looks
yeah.
like fun
Down in the
stuff.
Everglades, what we
Yeah,
need to do, and we'll stay in contact, Presley. We'll get we'll talk to y'all, you and your dad, about going to Orlando with us to ICAST,
yeah.
and then y'all can hop on the boat with us. And when we go, because we'll go after ICAST the next day, we go down to the Everglades and go hammer on some peacocks. So
That sounds like a
we'll have
plan. We'll
y'all
do
go
it.
out there.
We'll do it. I know my dad he'll be excited for that. We've been wanting to go to ICAST the last couple of years, but it just hasn't. We've always been doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hasn't always
I
lined up.
mean, what we can do, we can just have him just chauffeur us around, just be the
Yeah,
captain, right?
that's fine. I mean, like he said, he is a hammer of a captain. He'll be down for that.
So, all right, brother. We had you on here for an hour and 5 minutes already, and I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So I know that you're out of town, and we're gonna let you get back to what you were doing. But Norman, let's wrap this thing up. And uh, my dad says, "Have you ever caught a gator?"
I haven't ever. Well, I've hooked into one. I haven't got it close to the boat, but I have hooked into a little one in Okeechobee, Florida, this past
Yeah,
year. Actually, yeah.
yeah. All right, Norman. Let's ask the last question because this is my favorite question of that we've asked everybody that we have on here.
Yep,
So
everyone that comes on the podcast, we ask this question, and we have a lot of different a variety of answers for it too. But if you were to be able to have one person on your boat, Presley, this person could be living or passed away. Who would that person be to fish with you for the day, and why?
That's a tough one. I've definitely thought about that before. It's hard to not say somebody that really just knows how to catch fish. Uh,
yeah,
there's a lot of good fishermen out there, but I think right now, I mean, there's a handful of guys that just you never see them out of the top 10. Uh, Jacob Wheeler would probably have to be mine. There's not many people that can catch fish like he does.
mm-mm,
I think it's crazy how he can be so consistent and win so many big tournaments against the best fishermen in the world. And
yeah,
I would love to be a fly on the wall. Just listen. I mean, not even getting to go fishing with him, just hearing him talk about fishing. And
yeah,
I would just love to get in the boat with that dude one day. I mean, that'd be a dream of mine for sure.
That's
Just
awesome,
being
man.
just getting to be a sponge one day, just soaking up all the information. I feel like that'd be pretty awesome.
yeah. And just to, I mean, just to even ride in the boat with him and
Oh
just
yeah,
and be able to ask him questions of why are you looking at here instead of here,
yeah,
and why are you using this instead of that, and I mean, he definitely uh, is one of the best. I mean, if not the best fisherman right now. Um, but that is, you're the first person to say Wheeler, but
really.
yeah, uh, but we have not. I say that we have not had any. We've had a lot of the bass elites on, so they mainly think of like them, or like they'll say like their grandfather or their somebody in their family, or uh, Greg Hackney is one of the probably the most that we hear is Greg Hackney.
Really,
Yeah.
he can
So
catch some fish too. I like watching him fish.
yeah.
He's a fun one to watch.
So, but
Well,
guys,
I was gonna say, I'll tell you what, Trevor. Just there's, I had a blast here tonight talking with you, and I will tell you one thing though. Just listening to you speak, talking about your sponsors, you are very well spoken, dude.
Thank you.
You speak well beyond your years. And if you ever do decide to do fishing as a career, you have a very good start because, like I say, you are well spoken way beyond your years, dude. So, very good job. And
Thank you.
like I
That means a
say,
lot to me.
uh,
yeah.
awesome, 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 man.
So and so guys, that is going. We're going to wrap it up. Let Presley get back to having fun being out of town, and so. But Presley, man, we deeply appreciate you coming on here. I've been looking forward to having you on,
Yeah,
and
for sure. Thanks for having me. It's been a
Yeah.
good time. I'll definitely have to come back on sometime.
oh yeah, especially we want to talk to you next year about this time, definitely when we can see two of them big blue trophies up.
We'll try to make it happen. We will try to
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah.
So, but guys, make sure you go to the Deck Talk Podcast YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, because again, we are going to eventually get all this moved to where it's not going to be on Facebook or Norman's or mine YouTube channel. It's going to be strictly on that Deck Talk podcast. We're trying to grow that. So if you can go and hit that subscribe button to it, because we're already got 2 months booked out of special guests that is coming on, and we've got more hammers just like Presley coming on here, and And one of these days, Presley, we're going to be able, instead of say high school champion, we're going to say, hopefully, we're going to be able to say classic winner here pretty
Yeah,
soon with you. So,
hopefully. Well, that'd be a dream for sure. I'd
yeah,
love to be able to hear that.
Keep doing what you're doing.
yeah,
Thank
you
you,
got it,
thank
man.
you.
You just keep your head straight, and you got the support system behind you to be able to do it, brother. So,
Yes, sir.
but guys, we're gonna get off here. Fat boy's hungry. Norman's always hungry, and we're gonna get off here. Uh, thanks for watching, and we're gonna see y'all out on the water.
Tight
See ya.
lines, live the passion, guys.